Good day, fellow Jersey Nerds, and welcome to episode 43 of the Jersey Nerds podcast, powered by HockeyJerseyConcepts.com. I'm your host, Ryan. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the new Quad City Storm uniforms, Team Canada's new black alternate, and Vancouver Canucks choosing their 50th anniversary alternate jersey, plus also our usual features, Fake or Authentic, the HJC Mailbag, and Throwback Throwdown. And we want you to get involved in everything we're talking about. And you can do that by contacting us on Twitter at HockeyJC, or email us your thoughts, mailbag at HockeyJerseyConcepts.com, or just leave a comment wherever you find this podcast. Joining me this week are Monday's writer, Shawn. What's been going on this past week, Shawn?
Not a whole lot. Again, moving into a new place is very interesting, especially when you got to move a lot of jerseys. And finding room for them, planning out your jersey closet is always fun. Tonight's jersey is the 2002 Team North America All-Star jersey, the blue one that Eric Daze won his wonderful MVP in, and the only jersey that didn't hurt his back.
Do you have that numbered yet?
I don't, but I have the Canadian flag patch. I'm just waiting to find a properly sized Blackhawks patch for it. And, the funny thing about this jersey, for those who don't know, is that there were no TV numbers. The shoulder patches were actually at TV number level. And there were numbers on the back, and there's a star at the bottom of the hem here where the numbers would go. So there's hem numbers. And back numbers.
Do you save a little coin on only one set of TV numbers?
Yes, actually, you will. If the place is good, they will charge you by number of numbers and layers to it. So this will probably cost about $60 to do because of the two patches, but you know what? Some things are worth having.
Just to remember Eric Daze and his performance that fine afternoon in Los Angeles. You're going to love today's podcast, Shawn, because it heavily features black jerseys. So I'm looking forward to the enthusiasm you can bring today. And to counteract that is Friday's writer, TC. What's been going on?
Not much. Just started up the new semester today. Hopefully it will be my last semester after 7 years on and off of undergrad. But tonight, I am wearing the 2011 Washington Capitals Winter Classic, one of my two favorite jerseys that the Caps have ever worn. I think it's far superior to the red alternate that they wear.
Does it have the whatever? That was like the first foray for Reebok into the hanger effect. I think they wrote the date on the inside of the collar. Oh, he's checking right now. He's having mic issues.
No. It's not on this one,
Ooh.
But I will say that I do have the Rangers Winter Classic from 2012, and it does have a hanger effect on it.
Yeah.
So that might have been the one.
Washington and Pittsburgh from 2011 both came out with those jerseys as alternates the next year, I think it was. And that's, I guess, the difference. It's not a huge deal. And who cares except for Jersey Nerds? But that's why you're here on the Jersey Nerds podcast. And let's get started. Our first topic today is what TC properly put as our favorite punching bag, the new Quad City Storm. Haven't even played a game yet, but have certainly taken a beating from us. They released or revealed their new sweaters that they're going to wear for the upcoming SPHL season. These are interesting. We have a black jersey, which has a chest stripe outlined in that kind of blue teal that they're using, and then outlined in gray. The same striping appears on the cuffs, and we have a phantom yoke. We have a USA flag on the one shoulder, and from this image, I can't even remember what's on the other shoulder. Do you guys remember what's on the shoulder there? We got the flag.
The prisoner of war missing in action.
There we go. So the same on the gray jersey. It's exactly the same, except instead of a black jersey, it's a gray jersey instead of gray stripes. It looks to be black stripes, but it might be ash. It's very confusing. I find them to be very dull, but let's see if there's anything that you guys like about the new Quad City Storm jerseys. We'll start with Shawn.
One thing that I will say that I like about this is the fact that we're seeing a branching off of the stereotypical chest stripe pattern here. I like the way that it's almost like a cross-check jersey done properly, in that we're not taking a team's existing identity and adding dark gray and black to it. We're taking a team that's meant to have these colors and then using neon colors properly. I think that the black jersey striping is really solid here. It sort of has that neon Tron sort of 80s aesthetic to it that the logo, well, it's not the best, seems to want to use. So I think that this is good. I do like the especially since it's the Southern Professional League, why not have a gray away jersey? Why not differentiate yourself? I like the fact that the away jersey's logo seems to be fitting to the chest stripe. And I think that one thing that they did do right here is that because they're going for that neon effect, the phantom yokes here, the double outline phantom yokes, aren't too out of place here. They kind of have that outline look that the rest of the stripes do. It looks like there aren't actual stripes on this, but outlines of where the stripes are. And they did the thing properly where you want to have a shoulder patch on a jersey with phantom yokes. This is why Carolina's original edge jerseys weren't too bad compared to teams that didn't use shoulder patches. So overall, I don't think there's a whole lot here that I'm going to say is out of the park, but there's stuff here to like.
All right, TC, anything you like here?
I will agree with Shawn. I like that it's sort of a different take on the chest stripe. I think the black jersey definitely does it better, where it has the sort of ashy outside and then the inner that teal color, and then the negative space, I guess that's just the regular jersey. It'll be interesting to see whether they make that an actual stripe bare on the jersey. At first, I wasn't a fan of the Phantom Yoke, but it's sort of grown on me. I think that the ash in the Phantom Yoke is kind of superfluous because, as Shawn said, what they really want that for is the neon accent. And on the black jersey, the ash is pretty much lost in it. And as Shawn also said, I do like that they have shoulder patches if they're going to use a Phantom Yoke, even though I'm not a huge fan of the shoulder patch choice.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to agree with you guys. I like the teal, and it's used kind of as a neon outline on this jersey. I like that it's that they've gone with a gray light color jersey. But again, and like what was mentioned, the ash on the black jersey, it's kind of getting lost. It just doesn't seem to be working as well as it could. I don't know whether or not that's just the color arrangement here or the color choice, but it just doesn't seem to be working as well as it could. And I like that the jersey is gray, the light jersey is gray, but then when you go to the numbers on the black jersey, they use the same gray. And that's the only place they use it on the black jersey. So that's not so hot. And then you go back over to the light gray jersey, and it looks like they're using the ash, but also with a true black for the numbers and the logos. So it's a bit mishmash there. Shawn, what's driving you nuts about this jersey?
First and foremost, the non-matching logos are a big problem here. I think that the away jersey, or I don't know, the light jersey logo, I like that idea of the logo fit of a sort of horizontal oriented logo where it doesn't pop out like from the logo, that you get so that Montreal style where the logos almost fit to the chest stripe. The problem I have with that logo is instead of doing the interlocking QC, they do and then having the tornado around or something like that, or making the tornado really small, they do Q and then C, put the tornado in the middle, but the Q is blocked off by the tornado, so it looks like OC, so it looks like OKC, because what you see OC, you either think Orange County or Oklahoma City, and because it's that space there, Oklahoma City. The problem that I have with the home jerseys logo is that it's just too big for the chest stripe and too detailed, and it gets lost. So I think that honestly the best solution here was to go with just the tornado with the hockey stick on its own in the middle with nothing else. Because unfortunately, if you just use the QC, you end up with what the Rapid City Rush had with that terrible 2009 Detroit Winter Classic style jersey, where it had nothing to do with the team, and you didn't get to see the really awesome primary logo. Now here the primary logo obviously isn't as good, but you get the point comes across. And on top of that, there's not enough. I just don't see enough black here on the away jersey. Again, and I talk about this almost every post, every podcast. The idea of just let's make the striping patterns the same on both jerseys really irks me, because you're not color balancing properly. There's no black, despite black being the main color of the other jersey. There is no black outside the numbers, which I guess goes with the way that the black jersey is. But at the same time, it makes you think that the whole black jersey is dark gray. And on top of that, I do think that dark gray numbers would show up better with black middles than the other way around.
Yeah, all good points there. TC, why did these jerseys suck?
Shawn already covered the logos, so I agree with him. The best solution is just to have Tornado Man, which is what I've affectionately named him.
Tornado Man.
My biggest problem is the sleeve striping being on the cuffs.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of that design choice, and especially if you have a chest stripe, you want to have your sleeve stripes pretty much line up with it, so you get that consistent all the way across look. And moving it down to the cuffs, you have the issue of A, you just have a big fat gap between your TV numbers and any striping you have, and B, your gloves are going to cover up a decent amount of it. Another thing that's irksome is, and I covered this in the post I wrote about it, anyone who has done those weird optical eye trick things where it's like, which of these stripes is thicker, and it's the same stripe, the same size, but it's a difference of whether it's outlined or outlined in white. That sort of happens with the chest stripe on the light jersey, in that the lighter white sort of blends into the teal or doesn't contrast as well, and so it ends up looking a little thicker than the middle stripe on the black jersey. And whether it is or not, it just doesn't work for me. But I will say, the most infuriating thing for me, as someone who deals in concepts, is that this team, on their official Twitter page with their official designers, forgot to color in the the inside of the back of the jersey on the black jersey when they were releasing the images of it. It's still that pale gray from the other jersey. And as an organization, to have that in your official press release is just so Bush League.
Well, it doesn't stop there. If you take a look at the digital images that the Storm put out, and you look at the back stripes, the ones that continue from the chest, it's just a block of stripes. They didn't cut it off at the stitching that goes down to the armpits. So
oh my God.
It's really just a rectangle of stripes. They trimmed it on the front view, but
not on the back.
But not on the back.
It's unfinished.
View. Yeah. So I don't know if that is the jersey manufacturer's own mock-up, or if that is the Quad City Storm's mock-up, concept, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's it's sloppy. It's sloppy. Like you guys mentioned, the two different logos is driving me nuts. That Tornado Man with the QC or the OC is just a really weak logo in an already weak logo set. I do appreciate the effort of using gray here. So I do prefer the gray jersey over the black. But like I said, I think the ash or the gray, whatever you're calling it, on the black jersey gets lost. So the black jersey is just the worst of the bunch here. It's not a very good jersey. And especially seeing as I anticipate that they'll just sublimate everything here, it's just going to look like a really weak, flimsy jersey almost. And I agree with TC's points that he made on the post on hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, is that they couldn't think of something to put on the shoulders. So they just said, oh, let's throw the American flag and something to honor the troops on there. And that's what they did. My question for you guys is, we've beat up on these logos, both the initial offering that was never meant to be and the actual logos. Do the terrible logos take away from these jerseys? If these logos were good, would it make these jerseys better? Shawn?
Oh, 100%. Again, I honestly think that at this point, it's not that Tornado Man has grown on me. It's just, I think that there's something you can work with in Tornado Man. If you can build a logo around him, even honestly at this point, Roundel. Because the thing about Tornado Man is I'm looking at the SPHL logos, and, even as is, they're still far from the worst team in the league, especially now that they've upgraded that original logo. But yeah, they're still bottom third, but they're definitely doing better than Evansville. Like they're definitely and the Mayhem as well have had the same logo for years, and even something like the Havoc. These are teams that, while I appreciate part of their logo, I think Quad City just overall has a better color scheme. And on top of that, these are middle of the road decent jerseys that probably are actually in the top third of the SPHL because they're not NHL copies. That's the biggest thing here, I think, to take away, is that while the logos themselves seem to be pretty, stock standard, and they were at one point clip art, they're at least, and I have to give them full credit for this, they're at least trying to avoid the stereotype of minor league teams just rocking some professional teams' jerseys and wasting a good logo. Here we're seeing a good jersey that's partially mauled by a mediocre at best logo, but at the same time, they're trying. So I can't say that they're not trying.
Yeah, I totally didn't think about that, but that's a great point. They're not copying, which would have been so easy. They're not copying an NHL jersey. TC, do the terrible logos make the jerseys even worse?
I'm going to say no on the gray jersey, but on the black jersey, yeah, it's just way too big for that. It's an unmanageable logo for the width or height, depending on how you want to see it, of that chest stripe. Yeah. It just overpowers it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to hear what the listeners think, and if we could do a call-in show. This is the point of the show where we take calls, but we're not ready for that. So we want to hear and read what you guys think of these jerseys. So head on over to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. Scrolling along the top, you'll see the story about the Quad City Storm jerseys. Leave some comments at the very bottom of the page. Let us know what you think about these. Once people start leaving comments on our news stories, we'll be able to read them here on the podcast, and then your thoughts get out on the podcast for everyone to hear. Let's give our ratings out of 10. I'll start on this, and I was going to rate it down around about a 3 or a 4, but Shawn has swayed me with the whole point about them not copying an NHL jersey. So I will throw them a 5 out of 10 on these jerseys. Shawn, what do you think?
I will copy that 5 out of 10 because I'll go into more detail about copying in the SPHL. The Huntsville Havoc currently wear Blackhawks copies. The Macon Mayhem wear Regina Pats copies for their white jersey. The Marksmen wear the Calgary copies at this point. Several teams have worn Calgary copies over the years. And overall, with the exception of a team like Pensacola or Knoxville, we're seeing a lot of copies in this league, and understandably so. And it's not quite to the level of the something like the FHL, where it's constant NHL copies constantly, or even the AHL, which is corporate mandated NHL copies at all times. So I will mimic the 5 out of 10, but I will say that if you just tweak the logo, just made a Tornado Man, I'd give him the 6.5.
Good point. TC, your rating here.
I'm kind of on the board with everything that's been said. Like, initially I was going to give it a lower rating, but because they do get points for not just copying another team and trying some sort of originality, I'm going to give them a 5.
5s across the board. That's easy to do that math. The average rating here is 5. I definitely think with this entire look, there is room for improvement. The logos suck. It's very average jerseys, but with the color scheme and with, you can see there's a desire, I think, to be somewhat original with the jerseys. I think there's room for improvement, and there's always going to be jersey changes in the SPHL and all those lower leagues. So I think there is some potential still with the Quad City Storm branding. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes and if we're talking about them again next year or 2 years from now on the podcast. So we go from the Quad City Storm with their gray and their black jersey to Team Canada, who revealed their new black alternate at the Under-18 tournament, which I don't even know why we're having a serious international tournament in the middle of August, but it happened and Canada won it. But the big story coming out of that is Canada's new black alternate jersey, which is a black jersey with 2 red stripes on the arms, 1 red stripe on the hem. It uses the same number style that was used this past Olympics in February, the 2018 Olympics. And then Canada continues with the sublimated maple leaf pattern, but it extends from the shoulders down to the arms and is cut off by the arm stripes. So let's start with TC and what you like about this jersey.
I like that it sort of keeps the same template as some of their other jerseys, like the red jersey they have with the 2 arm stripes. I like the use of, I guess, the more Canadian logo than that stylized maple leaf that they had on the Olympic jerseys. I like that they're not the Olympic jerseys. Yeah. And, you know, I think the classic 2 arm stripe, 1 hem stripe really works well here. I think there's not that much more that you need than that simple classic design.
I also forgot to mention here, they did bring back the shoulder patches that were introduced in 2002. The kind of old style maple leaf kind of looks similar to Toronto Maple Leafs with Canada arched underneath it. So that's actually on the shoulders. They have been using that previously, but it's been on the arms in between the 2 arm stripes. And I also mentioned that the sublimated maple leaf pattern stops at the arm stripes. That's inaccurate. It goes all the way down to the cuff. So it's kind of like a sublimated maple leaf sleeve. Shawn, what are you liking about this thing?
Well, a lot. I like the... Here's one thing that I like about it. If you remember, switching sports briefly, the San Francisco 49ers introduced a black and red jersey. And I remember thinking, the Niners are not the team to do this. They really aren't. But I like the idea.
Of course you like this.
And this proves it. This proves that this idea works. Black and red can make a solid color scheme when you make the numbers white. The logo looks excellent on a black jersey. I like the bringing back of the 2002. I'm very nostalgic for that shoulder patch. The striping itself, I kind of like that, as you said, it's got the classic Canadian pattern, but I also like the fact that it almost seems to be, at least this is looking at photos of it, similar to the numbers being slightly, skewed, so are the stripes. On top of that, it's probably Canada's second best black jersey. I mean, they've only had 3, but I'll always prefer the 2014 black jersey with Canada in it because it introduced gold to it. And I think that's the one thing that this jersey actually needed was that shade of gold. But it proved that the Olympic numbers could work. It proved that there was there wasn't nothing to like about the Canada Olympic jerseys. And overall, I think that this was a good sort of return to Canada using a black alternate, keyword as alternate.
Yeah, it better be an alternate. I like the combining of what has worked here. They took the numbers, which was probably the best part of the Olympic jerseys. They take the current striping pattern, which has been working for them. And I really enjoy the use of the sublimated maple leafs on here. That's been working for them. You still kind of have the silly flywire collar that was in the 2014 Olympics, but the kind of faux laces isn't there, and the stitching pattern of it is hidden with this sublimated maple leaf pattern on the jersey. So that's pretty cool. And as you mentioned, I enjoy them bringing back or more prominently featuring the kind of retro style shoulder patch. So I think that's pretty cool. I am a little torn because I don't like to see Canada in a primarily black jersey. I don't think it makes too much sense. It's good as an accent color, but going back to you guys in first UTC, if there's something that you don't like about this jersey.
I really don't like the full-length yoke style sublimation. I think it's just overkill. It's way too much of a good thing. I don't understand why they couldn't just give it the treatment that they give it on the red jersey, where it's just sublimated on, I guess, what is on Nike, the yoke-ish type thing, and then in the striping. That really, it works well there because it's not too much. I think on this one, when it's taking up a great deal of the jersey, it kind of loses the novelty and becomes more of an eyesore.
Shawn, anything that's driving you nuts? I know it's a black jersey, so it's going to be hard for you to say something negative about it, but...
No, it's pretty easy because they're continuing what honestly were mediocre jerseys from Canada. For whatever reason, when Canada's 2015 100th anniversary jerseys were introduced, I actually really liked them. I don't remember if I liked them at the time, but I certainly like them now. I like the black helmet, white stripes, white script, white hemstring, black pants. White. There was a black, white, black, white. The black was well balanced here. It wasn't overused. And overall, I think that just there was something about it that was fresh. It was unique. It was like, okay, here's Canada making a 100th anniversary jersey that sort of takes a step into the future. Then they come out with these newer ones, the ones with the full black yoke, the black stripes, white numbers, black pants, black double black sock stripes. And I look at it, I just think it took everything that Canada's black yoke 100th anniversary jerseys did. It did it wrong. They did it backwards. Canada with black stripes on red doesn't look good. And I get that these are supposed to match that, but frankly, I could see these jerseys working better with like just a classic 2010 era Canada international jersey. You know, the simplest thing you could think of. But for me, at least, carrying over that stupid maple leaf pattern that I think served no purpose other than to show off that they could do it, not that they should do it. And on top of that, you've got, you know, it honestly, again, it's the bad side of the cross-check effect, where it's like we do black and dark gray, and it makes it look like carbon fiber, but not in the way a cool sports car looks like carbon fiber. It's like in the cheap way the bottom of a skateboard would look like carbon fiber, if you get what I mean.
Okay, so this is the skateboard jersey. All right, let's go to our rating out of 10 here. I gave this one a 7 out of 10. Like I said, it's a good design, but I don't know if I'm digging it for Team Canada, but still, it's good enough. Gets a 7 out of 10. TC, what are you giving this?
You know, it's not a bad design. I like the basis of it, but that sublimation continuing all the way down drags it down to a 6.5 for me.
All right, Shawn, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking there's room for improvement. Again, I think that in some respects, it's too similar to what they wear already, and I don't particularly like those. On the other hand, I really like the idea of Canada doing a black jersey. I like how simple it is. On the other hand, it's not the 2014 black jersey.
How many hands do you have?
Well, if I could count past 2, I am a history graduate. If I could count past 2, I'd be weirded out. But It's a Dave the Barbarian joke for anybody who remembers that. So I'll throw it a solid 8. I think the simplest way to get this up to a 9 or a 10 is to honestly make the shoulder patch logo the primary. And while we're at it, get rid of those stupid carbon fiber maple leaf things.
That would be interesting. Maybe the jersey would be too black if they did that, or not Canadian enough.
There's no such thing.
So with Shawn's 8, my 7, TC's 6.5, this comes out to an average rating of 7.167. That's a decent rating for an alternate Team Canada jersey, which I don't think we'll see stick around for much longer than a year or two. So good work there. So we move from Team Canada's black jersey. We've had a black jersey from the Quad City Storm. Team Canada's black jersey. We move on to our third black jersey of the podcast. And the Vancouver Canucks held a vote to determine which jersey from their past will be an alternate jersey for the 2019-2020 season, which will also be their 50th anniversary season. And the winner was the black spaghetti skate jersey. Now, I kind of roll my eyes and groan at this because we got this 4 years ago from the Reebok Edge jersey system. They wore it for their 45th anniversary. I guess the fans have spoken and they want to see it again, but I've seen it and I don't think we need to do it again. I don't know. Are you a fan of this, Shawn?
No.
No.
Because I think that what has happened here is Vancouverites have said, we want this logo to return. We had it for 19 seasons. We were a successful team, 2 Stanley Cup Finals appearances. And overall, from 1989 to 1997, having some of the best jerseys in the NHL with a logo that at this point, TC and I were discussing this, has actually aged into the time it seems like it was made for. In that, in 1978, they made a logo that was honestly too far ahead of its time, then aged rightfully into the 90s, and now is at the perfect point. And I think that right now, what Vancouver fans are saying is they want to return to this color scheme, return to this logo, and return to these jerseys, which is great. But it's your 50th anniversary, and you get a chance to wear something new. So you've done the 40th anniversary original home jerseys. You've done the 90s, the Kirk McLean era, as I call them. So you've got 3 more designs you can choose from without going into the gradient alternates. Flying V, Shoulder V, and Original Orca. And you don't pick any. You don't pick the new design. You don't want something new. It kind of pisses me off because, again, wouldn't you want to see every one of your jerseys sort of brought back for this? Wouldn't you? It's the 50th. You got one at 40, one at 45, and now you got a chance to do another one. Then we could go back and say, look, Vancouver throwback to all their jerseys that they had, and they've had a lot. Again, maybe it's a little too soon to throw back to something that was worn in 2007. Fine. I'm in the minority on that. I voted for that. You really passed up on the chance for the Flying V to come back? Really? Again, when the team is an absolute dud right now, when they're making unpopular firings, when they seem to have no luck at the draft, and when goaltending seems to be waiting on a guy named Thatcher, we're all sitting here looking at the team going, okay, Vancouver, you're destined for 30th. Wear the Flying V. And you say, yeah, I don't want that. I want to wear the jerseys that look really cool that we already wore, but we liked them that time.
Well, that's what the fans said, right? It was a fan vote. They've decided
70%. I'm sorry, Vancouver. You voted wrong. Your team will likely redesign in the next couple of years. That was your maybe on the other hand, maybe this is their way of saying, give us these back. Black, red, yellow all the way. And I agree with it. Black, red, yellow away. But at the same time, you miss a chance for the Flying V, and that's pretty hard to tolerate.
Yeah, I think that's more what they were saying, is that they would accept a complete rebranding back to this, but I don't even know why it was an option when they wore it 4 years ago already. So, TC, what do you think about Vancouver's going to be using this black spaghetti skate jersey again for their 50th anniversary?
I don't know what to say beyond what has already been said. I do think that it's the fans saying, hey, we want this identity back. The fact that 70% voted for it when we already saw it a couple of years ago blows my mind. I personally was going to I voted for the Flying V. because I think that's a much more unique and iconic jersey, and I would love to see that adapted. Especially, I think that the Addy Zero template would lend itself really well to the Flying V with the lay flat collar. But I like this jersey. I like the logo. Shawn and I were talking before the podcast. We think that it's not a question of it's grown on us, aged well. It was just something that couldn't be recognized as being as good as it was in the time it was released. If anything, it's a stronger logo now than it was back then. But I do think that, Shawn had a great idea. You get all these anniversaries. You've had so many jerseys. Switch it up a bit. Like, don't stick with the one you saw a couple of years ago. But I do think that, as we've said, it's just Canucks fans saying, hey, we were pretty good in these jerseys. Let's rebrand as this again.
Yeah, and like you guys said, this would have been a great opportunity to go, not even go with a fan vote, and just give people the Flying V. And I know the Flying V jerseys get a lot of hate, and that's fine. I kind of like them, maybe for the same reason that you guys love your Buffa Slugs, or not your Buffa Slugs, your Turd
Burger.
Oh,
no, yeah.
These are just so terrible that they're neat because they've been hated on so much that you kind of look around that and you find out what's cool about them. So I think if Vancouver just forget the vote, just said, you know what, 50th anniversary, the Flying V's are coming back, and maybe even do it a little tongue in cheek. I don't know, but I think that would have been cool. You got a yellow option, you got a black option. You could have worn both of them, and they both could have been worn for home games. The pants with the big V going down the side, the double V going down the side, would have looked really cool. It just would have been really colorful, and it would have given you two completely different kind of options while celebrating your 50th anniversary.
Yeah, one thing that's funny is that you see a lot of teams embracing these quote-unquote bad designs. Like, New York has basically said that the Fisherman is like, welcome back. Like, for years they sat and they said, we don't like these terrible era, there's the fraud and all that. And then the fans turned around and said, we like them. And then the NHL fans turned around and said, yeah, they're kind of cool. So, and then and now they're like giving them away at games, and people are wearing them all the time now. Not the Manchester Mouse, the Ontario Reign voted the Burger King jersey, another jersey that's gained popularity as being unpopular. This is the time of liking things ironically, or the so bad that they're good era, you could call it, of designs, where these terrible, terrible designs that 10 years ago you couldn't pay people to buy people are now looking back at them and going, these weren't that bad. These are kind of cool. I like them. And that's what I think is going to happen with the Flying V. And we're at that point now. Particularly the black one, I think, gets a lot of love. And the yellow one, I think people are actually finally getting exposed to, who weren't alive when it was being worn. So I think that Vancouver really missed a chance here to hop on a trend that I don't know is going to be here in 5 years.
And I think Adidas would actually make the design look better, because when it came out in the early 80s, they were using that kind of heat-pressed plastic to attach it to a mesh style jersey, and Adidas would do it properly with stitched stripes, and there was no way they would do a heat-pressed kind of vinyl on top of the jersey. So it would actually look more refined. Yeah, go ahead, Shawn.
One thing about the CCM cut is that if you've ever seen the CCM Vintage, there's a big sew line down the middle of it. And it kind of pushes the jersey inward, like it pushes in right on the bicep. So I think that Adidas would do a better job at this, because while that's somewhat accurate to what it would look like had they actually stitched it, Adidas, we've seen that the Adidas Adizero material is so much better quality than Reebok, and even to an extent CCM. So really, I think that they could sublimate it for all we know, and that'd be fine. But yeah, I think that they might actually sew these big V patches, almost like big pieces of yellow and red fabric, over the jersey, and it looks so good.
Yep. Or they could even do it in the style that they do their numbers, like the Oilers and the Senators do their kind of perforated numbers. That might work. If you're going with the ironic kind of ugly jersey, that could work. But it's obviously not going to happen. We're going to get the spaghetti skate, Kirk McLean era jerseys, if you will. And we've gotten them before, and I shudder to think what a big, thick, yellow and orange Adidas collar is going to look like on those jerseys. But it's coming. 2019-20. Oh, God. The Vancouver Canucks are celebrating their 50th anniversary, and we'll be going with their early 90s, whatever, mid-90s jerseys. It's now time for Throwback Throwdown. For this edition of Throwback Throwdown, it's a North American border war as we have two great international hockey moments and the jerseys that represented them going up against each other. We have Team Canada's 1972 Summit Series jerseys going up against Team USA's 1980s Olympic jerseys. So looking at Team Canada, these were very simple jerseys. For the first 4 games in Canada, it was a red jersey with a big stylized maple leaf taking up most of the front of the jersey. It did not continue to the back of the jersey. The cuffs had pointed angles on them, if you will, to also replicate the top of the maple leaf. And the back of every jersey did not have a name on the back. It just said Canada with the player's number and a standard block font. Team USA's jerseys were a little bit different from each other, almost Rangers replicas, but a little bit different. We have the blue jersey that had a red stripe flanked by 2 white stripes, same striping on the hem. USA in a block font arched on the front. Shoulder patches were white stars, and we had a 3-color collar, red, white, red. The white jersey, as I mentioned, red stripe flanked by 2 blue stripes, blue yolks. Again, the white star shoulder patches appear, and USA arched on the front. Shawn, let's start with you and your thoughts of the 72 Canada Series jerseys.
These jerseys, honestly, are underrepresented in Canadian hockey. We consistently see when Canada's throwbacks, we see the 1976 Canada Cup jerseys, that being the classic slanted maple leaf with Canada above it. We rarely see teams throw back to this, and I think that's because they're almost like a sacred cow amongst Canada. Like, you don't throw back to the 72 jerseys. That's the 72 team.
There's a reason, actually. It's because Hockey Canada does not own the design. Team Canada,
that's right.
Team Canada 1972 owns the design, and Hockey Canada is, I guess, not willing to pay for the
shell out the $50 or something that it probably costs for them, because I'm sure the 70s guys are like, oh, we'd see them, just pay us, and the Canada's like, yeah. But yeah, like, I can imagine them being completely reasonable in Hockey Canada just saying, nah, it's too expensive. But this is quintessential early 70s modern design. I own the white version of this jersey. I really like it. It's one of those jerseys, though, you need numbers on it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those jerseys you can't really wear with much. I will say it's a very dominating design, and if you're wearing anything more than a pair of plain blue jeans, it clashes with everything. I think that when people think of this jersey, they might be confused by the World Cup of Hockey jerseys, particularly in the arms, in that there was a lot more detail on those versus these didn't have that detail. Yeah. It's a spike, and the maple leaf itself is up. But at the same time, this is classic Canada hockey right here. Like, this is quintessential Canadian history.
The jersey itself for 72 it's pretty unique because you could say there's not actually a logo on the jersey. I mean, you could just say it's part of the design of the jersey, this big maple leaf coming up from the hem. And if it is a logo, that is a massive logo that is taking up most of the jersey. So it's a really interesting design, and I really think it works. I personally would love to get a actual, I'm not talking game use, but a real copy that doesn't have the patch on the front, the 72 team of the century patch. And I do not want to get a fake. So that's a tough thing to get your hands on, but it's certainly an interesting jersey. TC, what are your thoughts on the 72 Team Canada jerseys?
I really like it. To me, it's sort of, appropriately enough, kind of like the flying V of IIHF jerseys or of international hockey jerseys. I think it's a great, simple design, and you brought up the debate of, is it a massive logo or is it just part of the jersey? And I think it's kind of the best thing I can think of is it's kind of just a gray area between the two. It's not quite the jersey, but it's not quite the logo. And I think it's one of the better, it's uniquely 70s. Like, it's definitely something that came out in the 70s when you could get away with sort of forward designs like this. And I don't know, there's just something about the simplicity of it being just stark red and then that maple leaf coming out of the bottom, and it just screams Canada. There's no way you could see this on the street and be like, oh, is that Lithuania? Is that Switzerland? No, it's Canada.
Yeah, agreed. Good point there. No, I didn't really think of that, but yeah, it screams Canada. That's a great point there. Let's move on to the 1980 Team USA jerseys. Shawn, what are you thinking about these classics?
In opposite to Team Canada's jerseys that you never see, every AHL team in America has done some sort of throwback to these. These jerseys are everywhere. You can get them almost everywhere. They did an episode of American Dad on them. They did an episode of... They're everywhere. Disney made a movie about them. Well, the team, that is. The jerseys were in them, basically, is what I'm saying. But it's a case of overexposure, I think. These are solid jerseys, don't get me wrong, but I look at them, and not being American, I don't have the patriotic tie to them. It's a great moment in hockey history, but I don't see this as some grand epic thing. I see this as, oh, cool, some college kids did this. Great, awesome, fantastic. It's not 72. And on top of that, Team USA has had better designs. In fact, I would argue the World Cup of Hockey the white jersey was better than these.
Oh, God.
These are...
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over my freedom.
Well, I opened a Kinder Surprise here.
I hope you choke on that toy.
I'm going to open my Kinder Surprise. Well, I do that. I'm going to mention that, Team USA has worn much better jerseys. The story behind them is great, but they really look like they were made for a team that was supposed to be a non-event, which I guess is part of the charm of them. That, these are just very basic U.S. college jerseys. No, there's no denying that. Anybody who says anything else is wrong. Arch script, simple stripes. Even if you look at the replicas and look at the real things, these are cheap mesh jerseys. These are not, if you've been to the Hockey Hall of Fame and you've seen these things up close, I remember looking at them and I was like, these look kind of cheap. And they were, because again, this was a team that wasn't supposed to do anything.
They were cheap because there was no funding behind, there wasn't enough funding behind it. I mean, that's part of the whole story, right? That there was no belief in them and they went ahead and they took out the Soviets and won the gold. But as far as I'm concerned, this is a 1980s Team USA jersey. You shouldn't have changed this. There's nothing to change about this. And even to this day, there shouldn't be too much of a change here. I think with the USA Hockey logo and more of the darker blue that they currently use, and a play on this striping pattern with a simple star shoulder patch. This is what Team USA...
1996 jerseys with the American flag on the hem.
Those were the worst.
Mike Richter fought and went to Nashville almost for American freedom. Mike Modano I'm just naming American hockey players.
You're just
point, but
saying American names.
Saying vaguely American names that people might go, "Oh, Mike McDaniel's American." Yeah, but yeah, the 1986 jerseys were better. End of story.
All right. Well, TC, what do you think of the 80 USA jerseys?
These are the pinnacle of U.S. hockey jersey design. The elegance is in the simplicity of these. It's just like the 1980 team. It is bare bones, classic hockey. The simple striping pattern, the red and white on the blue jersey, which is reminiscent of our flag, the blue and red, which they had to do on the white because white stripes on a white jersey, obviously. The arch script of just USA. That's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need a fancy logo. You just need to, hey, we're the United States of America, and we're here to take down the Ruskies. I love the simple star shoulder patch, and it works well on the blue jersey, and it works well on the white jersey with that beautiful blue yoke. Like this jersey is the tops. I think what gets lost on most people, and this is a great way to spot the fakes from China because a fair amount of them don't use them, is the blue nameplates a la Philadelphia.
Yes.
The contrasting nameplates. That's something that, you don't see a lot of, and it just works spectacularly on this jersey.
Now, I don't know for sure, but maybe they were attached by Velcro and they were switching them between the white jersey and the blue jersey. I don't know, but
that honestly wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it goes with the whole theme of the team, but yeah, I totally forgot about the nameplates, but yes, they work so well with the personality of the team. It's such a great touch for these jerseys. Now, I have a feeling I know which way this vote is going to go, but it's time to vote and pick the winner of this Throwback Throwdown. Shawn, go ahead. Who's your winner here?
It's in Canada. Simply because I own a poster of the 1972 roster with Bobby Orr on it, which tells you how old it is. Because Bobby Orr was not on the team; he got injured, but he was named to the roster when they were picking the rosters. And looking at that thing, I didn't grow up in the 70s, but I could tell you almost every player on that, and I think at least half of them are in the Hall of Fame, and that's just the Canadian side. As a Canadian, this is something that's taught in school. They teach you about the 72 Summit Series in grade 10 history like it's an event, like it was something that mattered to Canada. And did it really in the grand scheme of things? I don't know, probably. I am a history major, but we never talked about it past grade 10. But at the same time, it's something everyone remembers, and part of it is the jerseys. I can't say the same about the U.S.
TC, who do you have in this one?
Obviously, the 1980 Miracle hockey team. Like this jersey is synonymous with USA hockey. This was our moment. This was the moment where the Soviet Union began to collapse.
No, that was Rocky IV.
These jerseys single-handedly brought down the Soviet Union. And I'm sorry, Shawn, can you tell me what have the 1972 Canadian jerseys brought down an oppressive communist regime? Because I don't recall that. These jerseys changed the landscape of not just the hockey world, but the international geopolitical world. Thank you and good night.
I think, once again, we have confused the 1980 U.S. men's team with Rocky IV. This is the 5th time it has happened on the podcast. We must stop making these factual errors on the podcast. It was Rocky IV that ended communism, not the U.S. team. The U.S. team broke the ice and Rocky IV shattered it. You're going to insult Rocky IV? Really? My favorite movie?
Miracle is better.
Wow.
All right. Well, while freedom is bleeding into your ears there, I hope you have your fill of freedom and eagles and hot dogs and apple pie and the internet It obviously, I would vote Canada on this one, but we're all letting our national bias take us over here. So this is a great chance for the listeners to decide the winner of this Throwback Throwdown. We want to hear who you choose, the 1980 Team USA jerseys or the 1972 Team Canada jerseys. This may just come down to who listens, how many Americans listen, and how many Canadians listen. Send us in your votes on Twitter at HockeyJC. Let us know who wins this Throwback Throwdown, or let us know by email, mailbag at hockeyjerseyconcepts.com, and we'll let you know next week on the Jersey Nerds podcast who wins this edition of Throwback Throwdown. It's now time for Fake or Authentic. Fake or Authentic? Fake or Authentic is my favorite part of the podcast. This is where I've come up with 3 statements that I believe to be true, but it's up to the guest writers here to determine whether or not they are fake or authentic, just like the jerseys you see around NHL arenas. Now, this first statement is definitely based on the Throwback Throwdown that we just had. Fake or authentic, number 1, I could not bring myself to purchase an international jersey for a country other than my own. TC, fake or authentic?
I'm going to go fake on this one. I think that there are personal reasons, like if, say, in my personal instance, my great-grandfather immigrated here to the greatest nation on earth, suck it, Canada, from Norway. So I would love a Team Norway jersey, especially... I'm loath to say this, but I loved the ones that they wore the last Olympics with the sublimated Viking ship at the bottom. I think that's a really cool detail. So if you have a personal connection like that, or if you find a design that just really works for you, like for me, if I had a chance to buy Russia's white 2014 Sochi jersey, I would buy that in a second. The one with the giant 2-headed eagle design across it. I think that's a gorgeous jersey, and I would absolutely purchase that and wear it.
Shawn, fake or authentic on this one? I could not bring myself to purchase an international jersey for a country other than my own. Fake or authentic?
Completely fake, but for one exception, and that's the U.S., because I am a maple syrup pouring, hockey loving, 110-yard football field, milk in a bag, loving Canadian. Stupid. You know how I feel about the CFL jokes. Yeah, but at the same time,
I was watching sports bloopers the other day. What? There was a CFL play where a guy was wide open in the end zone and caught the touchdown because the defender was running back and hit the goddamn goalpost because you idiots put it before the end zone.
Which is where it belongs, so you can kick the rouge.
What the fuck is a rouge?
An rouge is something part of the game.
What's on her face?
The rouge is the peskiest thing in sports betting. Thank you very much. However, I also love our neighbors to the south, particularly those in Arizona. That being said,
all right, Bettman.
Bettman loves Vegas now. He's moved on. In the words of the Eagles, there's a new kid in town. And Phoenix has to watch it. But that all being said, and that all being true, the Team USA has had a lot of stunning jerseys. I actually am a huge fan of their blue World Cup of Hockey jerseys. They were so plain, but the logo itself was gorgeous. And I love their 1996 jerseys. Other than that, Finland's got a couple nice ones. Austria's got a couple nice ones. If a Team Mongolia jersey ever came up, I think we'd all jump on that.
Maybe I could break my own rule here for a Trinidad Tobago D2 Mighty Ducks jersey. I might break my rule for that one.
Ooh, that tie-dye one? Oh, yeah. It's gorgeous.
While never skiing.
Hey, Shawn.
What?
I actually own the USA World Cup of Hockey jersey.
Woo!
Aren't we special?
If you'd be willing to trade.
Oh, God, no. Oh, God.
de-jocked and everything.
They drove up to my house with a bag full of jerseys I wanted. What was I supposed to do?
All right, let's go to fake or authentic number 2. It's better if a store numbers the jersey. Oh, what did I write here? It's better if a store numbers your jersey using the wrong material rather than the wrong font. I'll read that again. Fake or authentic. It's better if a store numbers your jersey with using the wrong material rather than the wrong font. Fake or authentic, Shawn?
200% authentic, and I've had this happen. If you get the wrong material, you can find someone who has the right material, strip the numbers, or if you, God forbid, got sublimated numbers, just sew right over them. Not a problem. Easy fix. And especially if you can get that jersey for cheap, do a little restoration work on it. Make it look good. Help an injured jersey today. But if you put the wrong font on that bloody thing, holy crap. I did that to a Thrashers jersey. Oh, I feel so bad for the poor thing. I was 50 and I didn't know what I was doing.
You bastard.
Yeah.
I know, right? I should go back and smack myself.
That's a piece of history.
It is a piece of history. It's going to cost me $45 to fix. But a wrong font, even if so, the numbers are heat pressed. The glue marks are going to show the wrong font through there. You have it sewn on, there's going to be stitch marks. You have it sublimated, congratulations, you may never be able to fix that. So, honestly, you get the wrong material, it sucks for a bit, you can fix it, you just got to put a little work into it. That jersey is perfectly fine. You get the wrong font, you're dealing with a damaged product here. And it's especially terrible. The worst experience I've had with this is purchasing it was from the Jerseys Gone Wrong, or whatever it's called, section of Aesthetics. Or not Aesthetics, they're
Ice
a blog.
jerseys.
Ice jerseys. They both start with ice. Shout out to both you guys. Ice jerseys, and they were given a Stadium Series jersey, and the person who did the original customizing put the normal size Kings font, or not fonts, the normal size Kings numbers on the back of the jersey, but widened them a bit instead of elongating them. So there's big glue marks on my quick Stadium Series jersey, and I love that jersey, I really do, but there's big glue marks on the back of it. And stuff sticks to them, so you have to wash it quite a bit. Which that's the sublimated pattern on the logo with the friggin' carbon fiber pattern on it, and that gets damaged in the wash. And basically, the jersey itself would have to be like dry cleaned to fix it. So overall, do yourself a favor and don't pass up on cheap jerseys. Don't pass up on cheap jerseys with the wrong material. Pass on them maybe if it's the wrong font.
All right, TC, fake or authentic? Better if a store numbers your jersey using the wrong material rather than the wrong font.
Authentic. Like Shawn said, you can still salvage one with the wrong material. If it's the wrong font, you're fucked. Like, there's no other way around it. And on top of that, even if you're just going to leave it alone, if you don't care that much, you can kind of get away with it with wrong material. Only people who know are going to know. Most people aren't. But if you show up to a game wearing a jersey with the wrong font on it, you're going to look like an asshat. And everyone's going to know you're an asshat. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Absolutely. And my advice, actually, the worst case scenario I saw of this is there used to be, way back in the day, when you guys were just little youngins, I was going to Leaf games, and there was a little store down the street that used to number Leaf jerseys. They do it in like half hour. It was quality work too. So they had the Leafs numbers correct. But if someone else brought in a Canucks jersey and asked for Luongo on the back, and I don't know if the store told them, yeah, no problem, we'll do it. But they numbered a Canucks jersey with Leafs font that said Luongo, and it's the worst.
What year was this?
I want it, maybe 05.
Oh, God, so it's the pre-Edge Vancouver jerseys with the Leafs font that's the stylized script. Oh,
it was a blue. It was a
beautiful.
blue throwback with the Leafs block font that had like the silver outline on it. Yeah. So
oh, God.
throwback Canucks jersey with Leafs blocky font that says Luongo in the Leafs font too. So that's the worst I've seen of it.
Can someone mock that up and send it in as a concept? You will get a free Concept of the Week nomination from me.
So that's the worst case scenario of this I've seen. Luckily, it wasn't my jersey. I always make sure to nerd out whenever I go into a store, and I ask to see the numbers that they will be applying to the jersey. And I also ask them if they use a style guide or work off of a style guide. And if you're lucky enough, the store may actually show you their style guide, which is kind of cool. So fake or authentic number 3. And this is the point in the podcast where we usually go off the rails, but here we go anyways. Fake or authentic number 3. You are a marble in the game Hungry Hungry Hippos. A game-worn green Whalers jersey is also a marble in Hungry Hungry Hippos. If you grab that jersey, the game stops. But if a hippo eats you, you're dead. Fake or authentic, I would take that risk. TC.
Well, there are so many minutia that are lost in this question. What style of Whalers green jersey are we doing? 89 to 90 flat regular striping? Are we doing the 91 to 92 flat regular striping a little farther down the sleeve? Are we doing the angled striping? And is Pucky on the shoulders or not?
Pucky is on the shoulders, definitely. Was Pucky on the shoulders with Cooper?
Pucky on the shoulders. Okay. Pucky on the shoulders. That definitely makes me more likely to do it.
82-83. We'll say 82-83.
82-83. All right. I'm going to say authentic on this because I don't know how many of you have played Hungry Hungry Hippos, but they have a limited range of motion and they have a set determined path. And if you can stay out of that, there are plenty of places in that arena where you're in no danger at all. So if you can make your way into those areas, 100% you're going to get that jersey.
But you're a marble. You don't control where you go. Momentum controls where you go. You're a marble.
Oh, I'm a marble?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're a marble. You're not you running around on the hippo
I'm not
board.
me. I'm free range. That depends. Who's playing Hungry Hungry Hippos? Because there are some are they the type that just mash that thing, or are they the people who use strategy and go
Three mashers, one strategist.
One strategist and 3 mashers?
Yeah.
You've got a lot going on there. You're going to be moving around a lot. Now, the question is, how many other marbles are involved? Is it late in the game? Or is it one-on-one? Or is this starting at the beginning of the game?
Starting at the beginning, standard Hungry Hungry Hippos 20 marble set. You're one
now,
of 20.
How far away are you? Are you on the opposite side of the circle, or are you near the Hungry Hungry Hippos, the Whalers jersey?
Well, the Whalers jersey is in the opposite corner. So the kids or the mashers are just hitting that button and sending you in the jersey out into the arena. And then bam, 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 the Hippos are just going nuts.
I'm gonna still say authentic.
Still going for the game use Whalers, because as soon as you grab it, as soon as the marbles touch, game's over. Hippos are done. Shawn, what are you saying on this one? You jumping into this Hungry Hungry Hippos game?
I have to, for the simple reason that Pucky's on the jersey as the patron saint of mascots, the greatest mascot to ever exist, the greatest shoulder patch in NHL history. Pucky the Whale is worth me risking my life, as he would have done the same for all of us. And while he has not been with us since 1985,
I'm here.
You've
just forgotten about me.
It's the ERS logo right on the side of him. We're not sure if ERS is tattooed to him, if he's holding it up with his fin, or if it's been stapled to him, or perhaps taped, hot glued. There's an ERS on the side of him, and we love every minute of Pucky. We like seeing him on occasion, that matted old green costume that we see sometimes out and about in Hartford, maybe at McDonald's. We don't know. The point is Pucky the Whale is a beautiful, beautiful thing. We miss him dearly, and he's worth it for me to play Hungry Hungry Hippos, even with the risk of being swallowed by a plastic hippo.
You hear that, Pucky? People are putting their lives on the line for you. Where are you? You're nowhere. You're nothing, you dumb fucking whale. Anyways.
How dare you insult Pucky the whale? We're not talking about some has-been loser like James Neal, who, by the way, is always welcome on the podcast.
I'm just saying Pucky the whale needs to get his shit together because there are people here who are willing to risk their lives, who are willing to be eaten by a hippo just to get his likeness on their shoulders. So
yeah, James Neal wants to get your likeness on their shoulders and is risking plastic death. Again, you are welcome on the podcast. Please come on the podcast, James Neal.
Oh, we should get Pucky the whale on the podcast. That would be
fantastic. The whale and James Neal, 2 rounds at the Hartford Civic Center.
Exclusive interview with Pucky the whale. So, Pucky, where have you been these last few decades? Oh, you know, here and there. And then it would get really creepy with terrible home hobbies that Pucky's been doing while he's been out of the business, and just be fantastic. We're going to work on that. Pucky the whale coming up soon on the Jersey Nerds podcast. It's coming.
Do you remember in Ghostbusters 2 when Winston and Dan Aykroyd are doing kids' birthday parties? And it cuts to him. Da, 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 da. He's like singing in Brass Bonanza. The kids are like, this party sucks. Who invited Barney the Green Whale? Hey, I used to be someone in this town. I was a winner. I could have been somebody. And then, you know, the Hartford Wolfpack mascot walks by and he looks at him and he looks at the Connecticut Whale mascot and goes, you two make me sick.
Pucky's getting mad at the kids. Come on, kids. It's Brass Bonanza. This used to be killer back in the day.
Come on, Ray Ferraro liked it. I did his kid's party, and now look at him. I remember when Ron Francis come up to me and he'd say, Pucky, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. And he got fired because he didn't listen to me. I could have won Carolina a second cup, and it would have been in Hartford. And now you little snot-nosed brats. He's got a whiskey in his fin.
Yeah, Pucky's got to be inebriated. Not drunk.
They tried to tell me Connecticut was no market for hockey.
He has to call
and then that insulted. They moved the team to fucking Carolina.
You can't have Pucky the Storm. It doesn't work.
Pucky the Storm.
They got a fucking pig taking over my job.
That pig.
I tried to try out for the job, and they made me wear a pig nose. And they said, Pucky.
We were the Whalers. I was a whale. They're the Storm, and they got a fucking pig.
Oink, oink. I'm a pig.
What do you want me to do? You like it? You like what you see in here? Mr. Big and Wonderful? Mr. Jeff O'Neill, you're too good for me now?
Yeah, you can lick my blowhole.
You don't return my calls. You know the last time Chris Pronger called me? 2 years ago. Brendan Shanahan doesn't check in anymore. And last I heard, Shawn Burke had blocked my number and no longer follows me on Insta Whale.
We gotta get a shirt up, an HJC shirt that says "Lick my blowhole" and has Pucky the Whale.
Oh no, we need oink oink, I'm a pig. We need that. We need Pucky with a dart saying oink oink, I'm a pig.
Oink oink, I'm a pig.
They put me in a home, the sexual harassment panda, and Willie the don't stare directly into the sunworm, and all the other misfit mascots.
Boydie gets to go out for Winnipeg Jet throwback nights. But you think Pucky gets to throw out? And now they want Pucky back.
Well, you know who my roommate is? Howler the Yeti. Do you know how much that guy sheds?
I'm the furry whale now, and not the green felty wave.
Oh, man. Pucky the Whale, we salute you. Thank you, sir. We're going to try and contact his people. We'll have an exclusive Pucky the Whale interview at some point. And we'll also work on our merchandise department to get some Pucky the Whale, disgruntled Pucky the Whale t-shirts up, because that would just be fantastic. Lick my blowhole. It's coming. It's coming. It's now time for the HJC Mailbag. Mailbag. The HJC Mailbag. If you want to send a question in and have it read on the Jersey Nerds podcast, you can go to hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. And on the side of the page, you'll see a form down near the bottom where you can leave your mailbag question along with your name so we can give you credit for it. Or you can just go to the podcast tab and the form is also there. Or the easiest way might just be to email it to us, mailbag@hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. So we have a question here from Burka Circus, and this one says, Reebok sponsored a contest known as the NHL Winter Classic Reebok Lost Logo Challenge. Fans had to find the one player on the ice during the 2009 Winter Classic without a Reebok Vector logo on the jersey. The player was Dustin Byfuglien. So if you've got a 2009 Hawks Winter Classic jersey without the Reebok logo and Byfuglien on the back, would that be considered a jersey foul? What are you thinking, Shawn?
I think we all have to get our thread cutters out and start gnawing away at that Reebok logo, I guess. If you got Byfuglien on the back of that, he was kind of a name that people got on after the fact when he made it big in the 2010 Cup run. But yeah, it's a weird one. Like if a player, Mitchell and Ness is the company that would do this. They are the ones who you spend $300 on a jersey, but it's accurate to the thread count.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm Mitchell and Ness. I got their Burger King jersey, and the Captain C patch is not accurate. I've gone to photos. Yeah, so
that's a big no-no because I'll tell you this: going to guys like Pro Image over in Pickering, they're accurate.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I think it's just they do their style guide is so in depth that like when you do with that. So I think that is it a jersey foul if you have one with the Reebok Vector? It's tough because it's that whole what was released to fans versus what was actually worn on the ice, and do you want to edit your jersey to be exactly what was worn on the ice? So for example, Montreal 2011 Heritage Classic, the Frankenstein jersey that we got was not what was worn on the ice. That's what was issued to fans.
Yep.
Is it a jersey foul? No, because that's what was issued to fans. Same with the Heritage Heroes of New Jersey for 2014. Sure, you could go and spend $300 on an authentic jersey from that game. But if you have one of those jerseys, put the Stadium Series patch on it and get like Dana Zubris or Jaromir Jagr, is that a jersey foul? Technically, no, because that's what was released to the fans. That's what people were given. So, I don't know. If Arizona and Vancouver didn't release their throwbacks, if you get Luongo on the back, if you get Ryan Miller on the back of a skate on a plate jersey, that's technically not a jersey foul.
So, TC, what do you think? If you got a Byfuglien 09 Winter Classic jersey, still had the Reebok Vector logo on the back, is that a jersey foul based on this competition?
I think it's not, because that's such a small detail. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like, weren't we discussing the other week when they issued each player 2 jerseys, only wore one on the ice? I think that's a bigger issue. This one, it was just a stunt put on by the manufacturer, and if they didn't follow through on what they gave the fans, I don't think it is. Also, if you have one, Burkus, ask your parents before using sharp objects to remove that Vector logo.
Ask your parents before going online. Ask your parents' permission before listening to the Jersey Nerds podcast.
Club Penguin!
Jersey Nerds is not responsible for you getting banned from Club Penguin.
Mom, can I listen to the Jersey Nerds podcast? Thanks.
It's explicit now. Then TC say the fuck word again.
The fuck word. Mom, they're swearing on the podcast. Mailbag at hockeyjerseyconcepts.com. I do not like swearing. Signed, Burkus's mom. Thanks, Burkus's mom. We appreciate your input on the matter. All right, let's go to...
My parents are super prim and proper, and my dad told me the other week that he was listening to the podcast, and it was one of the ones where I went on a long profanity-laden rant. I asked him how long he had listened to it, and he said, "Oh, just about the first half hour." And then I went, and I've never been so relieved in my life.
I listened to about 3 minutes. It was disgusting filth. I had to turn it off.
Yeah. My parents are like, "Oh, my son's on Spotify. I'm so proud." And then it's like, "Did you have to be so mean to Mr. James Neal? I want you to write a sorry card to them and to his mother. How dare you insult her son like that?"
Why would you say these things about Steve Ott? I'm sure he's a nice person. He's a father.
I invited him over for a play date with you earlier this week. He says he has some Lego Star Wars sets he wants to show you.
God.
Steve Ott just shows up at my front door, stick in hand. So, I heard you'd shoot me twice.
Have you guys ever seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Yes.
At the end of the movie where they're going to people's houses. And did you say online that Jay and Silent Bob are a bunch of couple jerk-offs? Yeah. And then they beat the shit out of them. All right.
I imagine Steve Ott doing that to me.
Did you say on the Jersey Nerds podcast? All right. Let's go to our next mailbag question. This comes from Christopher J. I'm going to start this question off by saying I'm a Habs fan. Well, then we hate you, Christopher J, because that's a terrible... That's a terrible choice of favorite team.
They're my third favorite team.
Oh, fuck you guys. All right, let's go on to Chris's question. I don't know if we should, but since the third jerseys are coming back for this season, which jersey would you like to see Montreal use as an alternate? And could be an older jersey or something completely new. So which jersey would you like to see Montreal use as an alternate, TC?
Personally, I really, it's one of those teams that it's hard for me to determine one. There's a good part of me that says if they do one, it'll be something like the 1944 to 47, that white version of the jersey. But you know what? I'd kind of like to see a darker version of the one they wore at, I think it was the Centennial Classic.
With just the arm stripes and the thin hem stripes?
No, it wasn't the Centennial. It was the Winter Classic one where they had the globe.
Oh yeah,
jersey. I'd like to see a dark version of that in that same scheme with the lighter blue.
Yes, that would be decent. I think I think Montreal and Detroit are kind of the same. They don't need an alternate jersey at all. An alternate jersey wouldn't add anything as far as their jersey identity or jersey set goes. But if they are going to come out with something, I think it would be really cool to go just completely direct throwback and do something from the 40s or the 50s, the red jersey. So use the CH logo where the tip of the C doesn't touch. It's kind of it's a wider C, and with the numbers that are a little more stout, something that Maurice Richard wore. So it would still look like they're...
The barber pole.
The barber pole. The dreaded...
I like them, but...
Oh, they were wow.
I'll tell you what we should bring in. The non-existent 11-12 jersey.
With the sash.
To make it exist. It's a fallback. This is what they do. We don't know if this jersey exists, so it exists now. Other than that, the 12-13 throwback would be nice with the just simple C, simple stripes. A white C with the A in it would look nice. A Jacques Plante style throwback would be kind of cool. And actually, one thing that I think would be really neat would be for them to sort of, if you could somehow blend the styling of the 70s jerseys with something close to what they wore in the Winter Classic. So what I mean is brighten the colors up a bit. But if you look at the 70s jerseys, you'll notice that sort of the way that the numbers sit above the stripe, no name on the back, solid white numbers in the stripes, and a V-neck white collar.
Ooh.
Like Like, I'm telling you, pure 1970s here. Just because, I mean, realistically, you know, Ryan, you have your problems with the Maurice Richards and the Jacques Plants not getting a fair shake at other NHL cities because Montreal convinced the NHL to let them have all their French players.
Cheaters.
I think we can all agree the 70s Habs are probably the best NHL team of all time.
I like the 80s Oilers.
What?
They're second best. I'm 80s Oilers all the way.
No, I'm sorry. I am team, not even Ken Dryden. I'm team Larry Robinson. Team Yvan Cormier. Their
defense were just like, all six of them looked at you like, just don't fuck with us. Just
Larry Robinson is like a plus 700 in his career.
Yeah.
And like, it's not even like, oh, he was on a good team. It's like, no, he's legitimately a plus 700 in his career. And I feel like the Habs, it's like they've honored they honor the 90s guys all the time, like the 86 and 93 guys. You see Steve Shutt gets a lot of love, Guy Carbonneau, Patrick Waugh, Mats Naslund. Where's the love for the guys that like beat the NHL and the Soviets? Like they
tied the Soviets.
Sorry, they tied the Soviets, but those Soviet teams were, unstoppable. So the Montreal Canadiens were the best team in hockey by far in the mid-70s, and they've done nothing to honor them.
Oh, well, I think their 4 Stanley Cups in 4 years did that, but yeah. I mean, and plus, nothing under the number 40 can be worn in Montreal because they're all friggin' retired, but whatever.
It's so true. Montreal is worse than the Yankees when it comes to retiring a number.
Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, 12, 16, 18, 19, 23, 29, 33.
30.
So there's, a few there.
And 31 will be retired when Price goes, and Koivu's number is going to get retired since 11 gone. I
don't know. I think they would have done that by now. I don't think
Koivu?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to retire his number.
Oh, and Patrice Brisebois, and Andrei Markov, and Stéphane Quintel, and Le JP Danfus, and all the other fun early 2000s Habs that made the Leafs go, oh, you poor things.
Andre Red Light Rasico, back up from 93. He was fantastic. That's why he got the nickname Red Light. Guy had a tan on the back of his neck, from so many red lights.
Don't forget Thomas Vokoun started his career as Patrick Waugh's backup the year he left Montreal, which I think made him just shut up and play hockey because he got so tired of Patrick Waugh going up to him going, Thomas, you did not stop aim on puck when how come you no pas tell the coach to come into the game? I beat the shit out of you. And Thomas is just sitting there. This is back when Thomas Vokoun had hair. And he's just sitting there like, yes, Mr. Waugh. Sorry, Mr. Waugh. And then he goes to Nashville, and he's like, thank fuck.
Now I'm just picturing Vokoun with hair, like long, flowing locks.
Flowing blonde.
Just sit on the bench, kind of like shake his head and wave it around a little bit. Looking good, got the flow. Patrick's taking care of things in net. I'll just sit here on the bench looking good. That's Thomas Vokoun. That's his initiation into the NHL. Looking good on the bench. And then Patrick blew up because he let in 9 goals against the Red Wings, and that was it. Jocelyn Thibault was next. Thibault. All right. That is pretty much what we got. I think the last half hour here just got a little crazy, but that's all right. We found out that we're going to get a exclusive interview with Pucky the Whale. We made our plea again for James Neal to come on the podcast. We know he listens, so it's just a matter of time now. And overall, I think we did a pretty good job here. What do we got going on the blog? Usual weekly posts, check those out. Lots of concepts going around there. We have the HJC Open final vote going on this week on the blog. It's Jeff versus Chris. The winner gets their name etched onto the digital concept cup. And the winner actually also receives a championship plaque. So get your vote in for that. We have the Concept of the Week July vote going on. We have the weekly Concept of the Week vote going on. So lots of votes going on the blog right now. I don't think there's too much else going on. We're going to have a new competition starting once the HJC Open is over. Other than that, just waiting for the NHL season to start now. I think we're about a month away until players start reporting for camp. So that's pretty exciting.
Get ready for the alternates.
Alternates, I don't know if they're going to be any more coming out. Maybe all the teams are waiting for Black Friday. Who knows? It'll be very, very interesting to see.
Oh, God, I forgot about when they used to do that. Remember when EA used to release the codes to unlock the alternates?
Yes.
And you have to wait for the... Remember NHL 10? I was waiting for that Colorado alternate. That team was terrible. It was just like, man, I can't wait to see Brandon Yip rocking that alternate. That just brings me back so much. Just sitting around checking EA's website every day. Jersey codes, NHL 2010, 09. Damn it.
Just waiting for that jersey code. I'm going to be the first one in the world to enter this jersey code. And then I'm world exclusive. I'm taking a picture of all those jerseys and leaking them on MySpace. Here we go.
2010, MySpace was almost dead. Wasn't quite dead. It was almost dead. Facebook was.
Twitter was what? 4 years old by that point?
Twitter was a thing. Facebook was a thing. They weren't big.
Screw Facebook. I mean, I used Facebook from maybe 2008 to 2011, I think. And then after I just abandoned it. Like, fuck
If
Facebook.
It wasn't for the memes, the purpose of Facebook would literally just be hockey jersey concepts.
Facebook. I don't care about you.
I use Facebook to point and laugh at all the people who made fun of me for being fat in high school who got fat in college.
There you go. Fuck you, fatties.
Isn't that a Netflix series?
Probably.
All right, so that's what we got this week for you on the podcast. Shawn, TC, thanks for joining me.
Always a pleasure.
Always glad to be here. And again, James Neal, podcast. Let's go. You're in Calgary now. We can work around this. We'll do it at 2 a.m. Atlantic time. We'll send you a sticker.
Get on the podcast. Oh, I forgot to mention the deal that's still on the table. If you buy a Jersey Casual duvet, you're automatically entered into the Concept of the Year semifinal vote. So let's get someone ordering a Jersey Casual duvet. As has been scientifically proven, the ladies love it. Jersey Casual duvet. Remember that. Also, we want you to leave some comments and let us know what you think about the podcast. We want some feedback. What are you enjoying about the podcast? What sucks about the podcast? Let us know. We'd love to make it better. And we also want you to share the podcast on social media with your friends, whoever you can. Tell people about the Jersey Nerds podcast. Let's get people listening to this thing. For myself, Shawn, TC, that's what we have for you this week. We'll talk to you next week. Goodbye, everybody.